Hey there guys, the PC guy here with news in tech and gaming for the week, and for starters we have some products that have been spotted in benchmark sites, not yet announced, not yet released, but it was always handy to know what's coming in the future. For starters we have something codenamed AMD Sharktooth, which seems very likely to be the Zen 2 iteration of the Threadripper. As you can see, it is sporting a nice amount of 32 cores, 64 threads, a lot of well, not a lot of other specifications. You might add there's a 3.6 gigahertz boost frequency, some information about the amount of cache it has, that sort of thing, and single core and multi-core scores for the performance of the CPU. We've always known that Threadripper was most likely going to make an appearance in the Zen 2 architecture. This seems to be it, and we will await further numbers before commenting further and actual hard evidence and hardware specs, as opposed to just leaks that could possibly be faked. But this seems to be the thing, and there's multiple outlets commenting on it. Speaking of fake, it seems like the news from a while back that Nvidia was not going to be launching a 2080 Ti Super after all might actually also be fake, even though they were stated by Nvidia themselves. Apparently on AIDA64 Extreme Beta, there is an entry for an as of yet unreleased Nvidia GPU based on the TU102 GPU die, which is the die that is used for, amongst other things, for the 2080 Ti as well as for the Titan RTX. Now there is a few possibilities here. It does seem that there is a GPU coming, obviously, otherwise there would not be an entry for it on a software like that. However, there is a few different GPUs that can be coming out of it. The first possibility is probably the 2080 Super Ti or Ti Super, whatever it's going to be ending up being called. The other possibility is something of an in-between step between the 2080 Ti and the Titan RTX. So the difference there would be that that in-between step would probably be more expensive and be more an in-between step in performance as well. The 2080 Ti Super would probably just be a slight increase over the 2080 Ti. Probably, and I'm just spitballing here, probably along the lines of 4 to 10% at most, at max. I don't expect more of that. To me, this seems like a reaction to the news that we have heard from the AMD side that they are preparing the Navi 21 and 23 to try to take the high-end crown off of Nvidia in terms of high-end performance. Could be an answer to that, or a preparation of an answer to that. Maybe they'll launch it preemptively so that AMD will never even get the spotlight, as opposed to wait until AMD does it, gets the, well, let's call it fame of being on the top after so long, and then them taking it back. If they do it preemptively, they kind of soften the blow, and they will still retain that crown for the whole duration, not give AMD the, well, let's say, mind share of having recovered the top spot for a while. No news as of yet in release dates or pricing or anything of the sort. Hopefully it will be at a much more sensible price than the 2080 Ti is. However, there is no information on that, and if the Super launch is anything to go by, especially the 2080 Super, the price was really not that amazing. Officially, the price was $100 lower in terms of MSRP. However, and at least in the EU, the prices that I saw, the 2080 Supers were all more expensive than the regular 2080s were at launch, and well, you didn't see much of a price reduction in the 2080s when the Supers arrived either. So it might be a matter of the market adjusting, or it might just stay like that. And if that's the case, the 2080 Ti Super, if it does come, will probably be still more expensive than the 2080 Ti is right now, regardless of any possible, not confirmed, price cuts that Nvidia might come with it. New leaked email, internal email I might add, from Sony seems to indicate that the PS5 will be revealed or possibly launched around February 2020, more specifically 20 of February. So this is a bit more specific than the leak we've had last year, and it also does seem to indicate that Ghost of Tsushima will be an exclusive for the PS5, and it will be kind of like their flagship launch game. No news on pricing or anything of the sort yet in this email, nothing was indicated. However, we do expect it to be cheaper than the over $1,000 price that we saw in that leak and on that MediaMarkt page a few weeks back. Intel's i9-9900KS has been spotted in 3D Mark. It's a CPU we've known it was coming. It does not bring anything crazy to the table. 5 GHz all cores, which is already achievable on a 9900K or 9700K if you have them. It's already pretty standard. Any CPU, any die, no matter how unlucky you were with the lottery, can achieve that. So it's nothing that crazy really. It's just, well, trying to squeeze the last bits of performance out of it. This seems to be also a timing a bit coincidental with the 3950X that will be launching next month. So we'll see how they are pitted against each other. But from the get-go, you kind of already know how it's going to be. The 3950X is going to dominate multi-core and, well, most scenarios, while the 9900KS is going to be dominating single core because 5 GHz, and it's going to probably be, well, best for pure gaming, but probably not much else than that. Once again, Microsoft has issued a critical issue warning, and the issue this time is that a lot of drivers from varied products, and it affects a number of manufacturers, which I'll forgive me for reading, like Huawei, Intel, Nvidia, Realtek, Toshiba, among others, and includes up to 20, more than 20 BIOS vendors. So pretty much everyone, because we all have one or two applications and drivers from these systems, seem to have issues with escalating privileges in their drivers. This means that through the drivers, some, well, ill-intended malware could gain access to functions that are more sensitive than the drivers would normally allow them to achieve and to access. So this issue has been reported. There are, as far as I know, no known cases of it being exploited to damage someone or steal information. However, the issue has been found, and hopefully it is fixed in the next batch of drivers from all these vendors. So I would keep your drivers updated. If you don't do it already, this is another reason to do it, because stuff like this can definitely happen. Last but not the least, Zen 3. Zen 3 seems to, according to AMD, have finished development. So it is finished development, and it is slated to be starting, release and production in the near future. What does this mean? It means that we will probably be seeing Zen 3 architecture CPUs maybe as soon as around the mid of next year. So another year at most, and we might have the next stepping in the Ryzen CPUs. This means that not only we will not have a Zen 2 Plus as we would have thought that we might have had, but the new architecture will be out before Intel actually even has an answer to the current Zen 2 architecture. So it is not known how much improvement the Zen 3 architecture will have. It is not known if it will be AM4 compatible or not, although it probably will be. But if the improvements are anything like we have seen on Zen 2, if they continue the trend of improving that they have had along the Zen lineup, then we are seriously in for some very impressive CPUs that might consolidate their dominance in multi-core scenarios, which they already do, and they might actually take the crown from Intel as far as single-core performance goes, because they are not very far from that either. So it's definitely exciting to have an AM4 platform right now, because just next year you could have a CPU that is a lot better than what you have now, and what you have now is already pretty crazy if you think a couple years back what you thought AMD would be able to put out. So definitely something to keep an eye on, and it's definitely exciting news. So this has been Ethic PC Guy. There's not a whole lot left for the week, I'll be honest. It's been busy at work. I've had to not have 3 days off of work, which I normally have, which I normally put in the channel, recording, editing, researching, all that sort of thing. So it's been a bit of a slow period for me, which you probably feel in the type of videos I've been putting out. It's a lot more gaming, a lot less tech. Let's face it, they're easier to do if you want to have a video on a schedule, but I will do my best to keep the interesting content coming. Now, if you liked and enjoyed this news roundup and the rest of our content, like and subscribe, leave a comment, it all helps get more traffic. If not, keep checking, we'll probably have some other content for you later on, you might enjoy it. This has been IPC Guy, I'll see you guys next week and have fun.